The spread of the coronavirus. The number of infections in China spiked by 5,000 over just the last 24 hours, and China has revealed that more than 1,700 of those infected are health workers. Now, here in the U.S., the Trump administration has set up a task force to oversee the response from here. Yahoo Finance's Anjalee Khemlani spoke to Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar, and Anjalee's here now. So, good interview this morning, good get. What did Alex Azar have to say?
Absolutely. So he really was talking about really getting U.S. experts on the ground. That's the biggest roadblock right now to really getting more information, because everybody's still relying on the information out of China, which is also being questioned a lot. So really, that's one of the biggest concerns. So listen to what he had to say.
Well, China is facing an unprecedented health crisis, and so some of this may simply be the chaos involved in quarantining over 60 million people and trying to contain a rapidly evolving unknown virus spreading in your country. But we must ensure that the response is transparent and vigorous, and that's something the World Health Organization has got to ensure, that China is held to account for transparency and cooperation by the same standards that they would require of the United States or any other country.
And there's concern that they're not doing that currently.
Well, I think it's an unknown. I personally offered as of January the 6th to send CDC experts in to assist the Chinese in answering the critical questions. How rapidly does this virus spread? What's the incubation period? Can it spread in an asymptomatic condition? All those types of questions we still don't have the answer to, and it's 39 days since I made my initial offer.
So as you can hear, he's really talking about trying to get that expertise on the ground. And though he's been critical in days before of China's transparency in the response, he's now saying, well, it's an unprecedented outbreak and they're really having to deal with it.
Did you talk to him at all about what's happening here in the U.S., particularly that, 15th patient in
Correct.
the U.S. that's now been diagnosed, this one who's already under quarantine? What's the U.S. approach to all of this?
They've already been doing a lot of things like screening at the airports, making sure that the public health network that they already have in terms of screening patients in general is already in play. But what they did yesterday was actually roll out the flu prevention system or tracking system in the U.S., which is similar actually to what China did, and that's how they were able to capture the anomalies in the flu. And so they're using the same system in 5 the largest cities to track.
What testing are we using? Because there was that whole shift in testing in China from the initial test to lung scans. What methods are people using in the U.S.?
We're sticking to lab tests, diagnostic tools that the CDC actually has given to a lot of the state public health departments. And so the cases that are in the U.S. are still linked back to the evacuees from Wuhan. So there hasn't been any one new or unrelated to that group.
Any kind of inkling if the CDC is going to be allowed into China, if there's going to be more cooperation? Because I remember in the early days, everybody was touting how much China was cooperating. That seems to have faded now.
It depends on who you're talking about. So they are working with the World Health Organization more closely. They seem to have a better relationship there. And so through that is where U.S. experts might be able to get in. Secretary Azar did point out that, the CDC in China is named after the U.S. CDC. So there is already that existing partnership and relationship. But as of right now, I even asked if the U.S. trade deal had any effect on the relationship and whether that's where the roadblock is. And he basically answered, well, I hope not. But,
Interesting. Anjalee, thank you so much.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.